The Jaguars have their EVP, and Liam Cohen is currently building up his coaching staff, and the Jaguars are finally making some GM moves. Let's talk about it. Real quick, shout out to this video sponsor, BetUS. And guys, the Super Bowl is this upcoming Sunday, and the Chiefs are actually 1-point favorites. I know for me, I actually believe that the Eagles are going to win. I think that the Eagles are a better team. However, one big rule of thumb for me is to never bet against Patrick Mahomes because that guy is pretty incredible. So, I mean, if you guys do feel comfortable betting either way, BetUS is going to offer you a 150% deposit bonus using promo code YouTube150. So with the Jaguars, man, like Tony Boselli has finally been declared the executive vice president of football operations. And I know this is a topic that's been kind of looming since I believe like last November or December. It was kind of murmured out there. And then, word got out that he was actually helping Shad Khan with the head coaching search. And then Shad Khan pretty much declared that he was going to have a role. It was just never fully just set out there. But yeah, but Tony Boselli is officially the EVP, the Jaguars' first ever draft pick, the Jaguars' only Hall of Famer. And look, at first I was a little bit lukewarm on an EVP just because EVPs aren't a standard part of a football team. I mean, not every football team has an EVP. Actually, most teams out there don't have an EVP. And I do get worried about maybe too many chefs in the kitchen. But I think it works for the Jaguars just because the Jaguars do have an absentee owner. Shad Khan lets BS hang around for way too long just because he doesn't have a sense of the building. BS isn't around. And look, I can't really fault him for being an absentee owner just because, look, he hires football people to do football things. And he's very, very hands-off. And that's one thing that makes this job very, very attractive. However, when things do go bad, he doesn't get in there quick enough and make things happen. So, with that said, it's different with the way Tony Boselli is going to run things than with Tom Coughlin, because I think Tom Coughlin, he was good for the role for a year because I do think the Jaguars needed somebody to go in there and kick people in the ass and, get things in place. But it's almost like he should have been in a consulting role where he came in, fixed things up, and left. But yeah, he hung around too long. He was a micromanager. He was, probably way too involved in what Dave Caldwell was doing. Probably he was on the football field out there trying to help coach and everything. Like, Tony Boselli won't do that. Tony Boselli, I think, actually has an understanding of, how he needs to do this. He has a lot of, football knowledge. He has a lot of football people. I think that he'd do a better job of listening to people than maybe a Tom Coughlin. And also the structure is different. Back when what's his face, Tom Coughlin was here, it was essentially Dave Caldwell and Doug Rohn reporting to Tom Coughlin, and then Tom Coughlin reporting to Shad Khan. Now it's different. Now it's all the three different guys, Liam Cohen, Tony Boselli, and whoever our new GM is, are all going to be reporting up to Shad Khan. So the structure is a little bit different, and I think that's something that's pretty important. So, with that said, I think the ultimate thing is that Tony Boselli really, really cares about the Jaguars. I mean, there's not many people that you get put into this role that would care about the Jaguars if you weren't giving them a bunch of money, right? I mean, you can sit here and make a Rick Spielman care about the Jaguars if you're giving him $4 million a year. You can make whoever out there that you think is qualified for an EVP care about the Jaguars if you're actually giving them money. But Tony Boselli really, really cares about the about this franchise, and he wants this franchise to be a winner. He's hung around. He was the first ever draft pick, and he's just been hanging around Jacksonville ever since. He's been around the team ever since. He's always had some kind of role with the Jaguars, whether it be a player or radio guy, analyst, whatever, liaison. He's helped the Jaguars and fan engagement type stuff. Like, he's been all over the place, and now he is at a very, very high-ranking position, and I think he'll do a good job. I'm going to miss him on the radio because, I don't listen to 1010 much, but I always listen to his segment on The Drill. I don't listen to a lot of the Jaguars YouTube programming, but I always listen to Jaguars Money with him and Pete. I don't think anybody's going to fill that void. People were like, oh, bring Jeff Loggeman in. Oh, bring Fred Taylor. Like, none of those guys on the radio are nearly as good as Tony Boselli. So I'll miss him, but that is what it is. So, head coach Liam Cohen is out here building up his coaching staff, man. Some hires that he's made. Special teams coordinator Heath Farwell, he's retained from Doug Peterson's crew. Also, we hired defense coordinator Anthony Campanelle, who we talked about previously. He actually brought over secondaries coach Anthony Perkins from the Packers. He was the former defensive quality control coach over there. Also, linebackers coach Tim Lukabu, which name is kind of weird, but he was actually born in the Congo, so that's definitely interesting. He was previously serving as the outside linebackers coach for the Carolina Panthers, but he was let go after a bunch of. It's kind of weird with the Panthers, like their defense wasn't that good, so they let go pretty much all the position coaches, but they kept the defensive coordinator. So yeah, I don't think Carolina Panthers are really the model of success. So yeah, Tim Lukabu will be the Jags linebacker coach. The Jaguars also have defensive line coach Matt Edwards, who was previously the assistant defensive line coach for the Bills. The Bills are sad to have him go, but he's obviously taken a promotion. And then tight ends coach Richard Angulo was retained. He was actually the Jaguars' previous tight end coach, so the Jaguars keep him around. So yeah, we'll get more into this coaching staff as it's finalized, and we can kind of do one big overview to kind of understand what these different guys bring. But this is more of a general recap. And speaking of general recap, the Jaguars GM, they finally yesterday, like the floodgates opened. The Jaguars have requested to interview this guy, this guy, this guy. So yeah, the Jaguars, they need to get a general manager by February 28th. And with general manager, it's really weird analyzing this because general managers get all the credit and all the blame if a draft pick goes wrong, right? Like when the Jaguars and Dave Caldwell completely missed on Laviska Shenault in the second round. We're not going over there to say, who is our Colorado area scout who put the scouting report on this guy? Like, it's not like that. The GMs, they get all the credit for everything and all the blame for everything. So, not sure how much of a role these guys actually have, but here's a list of names. Mike Greenberg, the Bucks assistant general manager. He Licht's right-hand man. He also is really, really good on salary cap. Ian Cunningham, the Bears assistant general manager, he's been the guy that I feel like has been most closely linked to this job. So I think he's definitely a name to look out for. Previously serving on the Ravens and Eagles scouting departments. So that's one to look out for. Brandon Brown, the Giants assistant general manager. And this is one thing, like, a lot of people are talking really, really high about Brandon Brown. And to me, it's like, do I want the Bears assistant general manager? Do I want the Giants assistant general manager? Like, obviously, they're not out there making the picks, but I'd rather someone come from, like, true winning organizations. But, hey, this is the route that we need to go. I guess that's the route that we need to go. Chad Alexander is the Chargers assistant general manager. So that's one to look out for. That's another hot name. And then finally, Trey Brown, who is the Bengals senior personnel executive, whatever role that is. That's what that is. So yeah, the Jaguars have their GMs out there requested. So now the Jaguars will hopefully bring in a good GM. I'm just very, very thankful. Whoever we get, I don't have to hear Trent Baalke's raspy voice at the podium anymore, looking like he's about to croak and talking about value and arm length and I don't live with regrets. We got to roll up our sleeves and get to work. I don't have to hear any of that. I'm just so happy that we have new blood, new organization. It feels like we have some of the right guys in place. We have our young offensive-minded head coach. We have Tony Boselli, the darling of our franchise, and hopefully a young, good GM that can really build a winner here in Jacksonville that's built to sustain and go to the playoffs every year and finally bring Jacksonville a championship. So we'll just have to see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do me a favor and drop a like on your way out. And shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. And go Jags.